It has been exactly 20 years since the world held its breath and Pope St. John Paul II returned to the house of the Father. Yet despite the passage of time, his presence remains strong, and his legacy continues to inspire millions around the world.
On działa.
He is at work, and it is visible. People turn to God through him and receive various graces, many of them.
2 miraculous healings through his intercession, Sister Marie Pierre from Parkinson's disease and Floribet Mora Diaz from a terminal brain aneurysm, paved the way for his canonization, just 9 years after his passing. His impact went far beyond these miracles.
John Paul II changed the world, and the world that we live in today is in the shape it's in, or at least in some aspects, because of John Paul's witness, especially when he went to Poland in 1979 and inspired the people by saying, "Be not afraid," and asking the Holy Spirit to send and to change the face of this land, this Polish land.
A drugi, moi drodzy, to jest ta stuła papieska, w której do was teraz przemawiałem.
And Poland, his homeland, was just the beginning. The winds of change swept across Eastern Europe.
Gorbachev powiedział papieżowi.
Gorbachev told the Pope, "I have read your documents, your encyclicals, and have come to the conclusion that something must change in Russia."
W Rosji coś trzeba zmienić.
My first trip to Poland was in 1980, a year after his visit, and the decorations were still out in front of the houses, the flags, the pictures of the Pope, and everybody knew that this was a
beginning of change.
Beginning of change, the beginning of the end.
Yet in the fight to change the world, danger was always near, and the cost of freedom proved to be extremely high.
Papież stał, ja siedziałem z tyłu.
The Pope was standing, and I was sitting beside him. The second time we approached near the Bronze Gate, the shots were fired. The Pope was still standing. I even asked him, "Where?" And he showed me. His abdomen had been shot through, and his hand was wounded. As he lost a lot of blood, he became weak, and that's when I held him up.
The Pope miraculously survived the assassination attempt in the Vatican on May the 13th, 1981, firmly believing that it was the intervention of the Mother of God that saved him.
Papież wcześniej nie znał tej tajemnicy.
The Pope knew about the devotion to Our Lady of Fatima, but nothing beyond that. Then, while still in the hospital, the thought of the Fatima secret came to his mind. He asked for the text, kept in the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, to be brought to him at Gemelli.
His faith deepened even further. Cardinal Stanisław Dziwisz, his personal secretary for 39 years, recently shared exclusive insights with EWTN in Krakow, testifying about the Pope's conversations with Sister Lucia of Fatima.
I ona powiedziała,
She said, "What Our Lady desired and what was written in those records has been fulfilled." And as a request, she asked the Pope to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, together with the bishops in St. Peter's Square.
And so he did. John Paul II, a tireless pilgrim, a messenger of peace, an avid athlete and skier, a polyglot, and a true friend of youth. But above all, he was a man of deep prayer, the source of strength behind everything he did.
He always ended his day with a moment of prayer. Whenever he returned to the nunciature, he would go straight to the chapel to pray, always, without exception.
przede wszystkim w jego życiu.
His holiness was most evident in his prayer. He was a man of profound and unwavering prayer. He never displayed it openly, but those close to him could see how long John Paul II prayed.
Salve Regina, Mater Misericordiae.
He had a deep love for the Rosary, and it remained with him until the very end, even when he could no longer speak. And on the last day of his life, those in his apartment prayed it for him, joined by a crowd of young people in St. Peter's Square, all united in prayer.
Myśmy chytrze otwierali dyskretnie.
We would carefully and discreetly open the window, just enough for the voices to reach him, so he could feel the joy of knowing that all those people were there with him. A large group of young people had been keeping vigil for the second day. I went out to the square and told them, "Go home." But they replied, "He was always with us, and now we want to be with him." And they stayed. The youth never left him until the very end.
Life is more powerful than the forces of death.